to press on us and get us, and we're going to make bad choices, and we're going to do all these things. But the truest thing is all things restored, and the truest thing is for that I believe in is the Creator going, yes, I can restore you. I've designed it in a way where you will get crushed, but I've overcome the world.
So my name is Paul Peterson. Welcome to another show or another episode of Searching for Hope. Today we're really excited to be joined by CJ Hobgood, down from Florida, former professional surfer, or maybe we should still consider him a professional surfer. Former world champion. A few months ago, there was a documentary, If Two by the Sea. If Two by the Sea? I think that's the title of the documentary.
It is such a tongue twister. I think I get it wrong. It's called And Two If by Sea.
And Two If by Sea. I should have written it down. I thought I could memorize it.
No. I get that wrong. I guess that's part of the allure, right? I don't know.
No, I love it at the end. I think it's at the end of the documentary. Then it shows the whole quote where it's taken from. Now I got it. I like it.
Yeah, that was we always struggled. There's a Josh Garrel's CD called Love and War and the Sea in Between. And I was a big proponent of Love and War and the Sea in Between. And then we settled on Into If by Sea.
Cool. Well, thanks for being with us today. And being willing to share and be a little vulnerable with us.
Yeah, that's the medicine, man. There's being vulnerable and practicing the vulnerability is very free, and it takes time. It's like, because you hear that in your relationships, or you hear that with, hey, people just connect or endear themselves to you or for whatever reason. And you hear vulnerability and you hear these things, but I had heard it, and I've sort of just, as you would if you were going through the forest, and at first you're kind of scared or a little whoa, what's going on? Oh, that's pretty cool. So vulnerability has been a thing that I have been practicing. The documentary was a good gateway in that, and I really I love the symptoms from it, and I really enjoy just continuing on that path. So thanks for having me, man. And I encourage everyone to find out where that is, because as humans, we're extreme, right? We either just want to go, this is personal to me, or I just vomit on you, right? We don't know the in-between. They're just here's everything about me in third grade. And then the other thing is oh no, that's just personal to me. And it's I think as humans, and me including, we have trouble with the slow, sort of happy medium delivering with vulnerability. So that's why people are scared of it. They don't know how to do it, and it just comes off weird.
Oh, that's cool. No, we love it. Thank you so much. That even gives us a little context and introduction to who CJ is beyond maybe the surf. I'm curious, for me, surfing became this thing. I've been lucky enough to at least be out on the water in France and South Africa, in a few other places as well. And there's a peace that I find just being out on the water. It's healing to my soul for some reason. That's how I talk about it with a lot of my friends. To my wife, I've said when we were at Cape and Ray, when I had a hard day or was frustrated, just getting out on the water, there was something it did to me. I felt like I found my center. I'm curious, what has surfing been beyond maybe the competition of it? What is the draw, or what's the allure to surfing for you?
Well, I think that's a good point, and because regardless of level or expertise or skills or whatever you want to call it, that is a common denominator between me and you. If you go out there and essentially your first duck dive is like, okay, now I've been baptized, now I've been clean, I've washed off, my eyes might sting a little bit because maybe I haven't gotten a lot of sleep, or maybe just the sweat of the world. And then you come out of that, and then you're a little scared, right? It could be so there's a full adventure. Like, is the board going to take me out? Is the shark going to get me? So then, then you're sort of, you feel alive after you've been baptized. And then as you continue to look around, it's just beauty everywhere. And then you're just, whoa, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, am I going to catch this wave? Am I going to wipe out? There's so much unknown that only adds to the thrill and sort of the adventure, that like now you've hit like areas just like how me and you were designed, and everything can just flow from there. And you're like, okay, I literally just picked up the anchor to life and, sort of reorientated myself and then put it back into some solid ground, and then you come back in and you're like, hey, honey, how you doing? Let me grab the kid. And it's just like, you are now sort of renewed in a very small sense. And those things in a small sort of way are happening regardless of how many waves I caught, how many waves you caught, how many airs I did or barrels I did and didn't do compared to you. That is still a common denominator a lot. So I'm glad that you can get that as well. And that's ultimately what I'm going for when I go out nowadays. There's no performance at all.
I'm curious, if you don't mind looking back a little bit. I mean, one of the things we're doing here is looking for where did people find the strength, the hope? I mean, you can look at hope as I hope to win something, but I mean, I'm looking more at that hope that keeps us moving forward, that hope that keeps us pushing through seasons that have been hard. And it was drawn out of this whole COVID season. But I think people have been going through seasons of uncertainty for as long as humans have been around. And I'm curious for you, is there a season in your surfing career, or it doesn't have to be, that it really took some work to find hope and took some work to push forward?
Yeah. And I think about those things, and I think about my life, and because you only know what you know, right? So I had been to an area that was, pretty doomy, gloomy, depressive, like all these things. And I learned that the last thing that goes for me is dreaming. It's weird. So for some people, it might be the first thing that goes. I get, I'm impatient. I'm telling myself some really bad stories, and I'm like believing them, and I'm living in them, and I'm living out of them. And when the pressure really comes, I've always like dreamed really easy of great things for my life, even when the circumstances have been bad. Like, even when the circumstances, everything's been against me, I've still been able to dream. And there was times when I had retired from surfing where I completely lost the ability to dream of just anything, like off the wall stuff that you just be like, that'd be pretty rad, and so now that I know that, I'm only sort of describing that because now that I knew what those things felt like, of, man, I can't have a gun in the house because I'm afraid I'm going to take it and use it against myself, and like all these things. And now to being able to fight against the world and live out of stories that I really believe and I'm living out of, I've gotten those things back. And this is a daily thing, right? You sort of got to fight off the world in a daily sense. And so I found my way back, and I'm describing those things because I do know what that looks like. And I do know how the steps of the things that I lose when the world starts getting more territory than essentially it's it's allowed to in my life.
And I'm curious, so what I really appreciated in your documentary, I think, was, and I stated at the front end of this conversation, was the vulnerability. Because there's something sure, we can tell a story, and yeah, this is what it was, and it was hard, and everything's better now, or we got through it.
Mm-hmm.
I was really struck by a few moments in the documentary where what I sensed was you basically owning, saying, I'm at fault here for the pain I'm feeling and for the pain around me.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow you have to fight through that. How would you, maybe if someone else is in a moment in their life where maybe they've really screwed up and they got to somehow get past that, how would you encourage someone to get past that? Like, because you clearly owned it at some point. Maybe it wasn't right in the moment, but how do you get past that?
How do you get past that? I don't want to, and that's a great topic or a point. How did I get past the damage done, right? And how do I get past of the damage that seems, irreconcilable? I don't even know what that word is. Or irrevocable, right? And the biggest thing was for me was with my daughter, because I could clearly see the sin and the death and the damage that I had done in her life. And I could clearly see it was the sculpture, that clearly showed the choices that I had made. And they hurt. They really, really hurt. They just pierced you to like a degree that you were just like, all the seasons coming out. And so this is real stuff, right? You're going to have a situation where it's going to seem, the lie would be there's not a way back, right? The lie would be the damage you've done will be with that person for the rest of their life, right? I could tell myself that story. I could tell myself there's damage I've done to my daughter she'll be different from it, but to sit there and go, no, well, what is the truest thing, right? And you have to get to a point where the truest thing is, for me, was all things restored. Everything's the little baby is going to be peace on earth. And then the world is going to press on us and get us, and we're going to make bad choices, and we're going to do all these things. But the truest thing is all things restored. And the truest thing is for that I believe in, is the Creator going, yes, I can restore you. I've designed it in a way where you will get crushed, but I've overcome the world. And so I had to just go, I got to ride this one out. I got to see the freedom, and I got to go to Him and ask Him for restoration, ask Him for the way back. And bro, I tell you, that was when my daughter was like 4. She's 13 now. Oh my gosh. Like, it's a return on investment. The restoration is a return on investment that you have to go on that path. You have to go on that journey, because it's a return that it's like nothing you've ever seen, and now I have this relationship not only with my oldest daughter, but with my youngest daughter and my ex-wife and my wife now. Like, I now have a perspective and understanding that only I could have by these things being restored. And I can sit here from this point, and I also can say, hey, listen, I got to wake up and do these things every morning to sort of reorientate myself and, reset the anchor so I can, get some footing against the world, and also understanding times where I'm just taken out and I need to get back to the back of the line and and just sort of understanding like when the chaos comes, like it's a chance to be mature. Like that's the opportunity for maturity. That's the opportunity for things to happen, instead of just going, well, here it goes again. Crap always happens to me. It's just like, so it's learning these things and then doing these things. And then over time, you can look back 10 years down the road and you're like, you know what, dude, freaking a lot of crap does make good soil. And I can measure how far I've come along, 5-10 years down the track. And that goes against men. Like that would all go against me wanting to fix something. I should just be able to come home and fix it, right? So it's going against, and it's searching every part of you that you needed to get rid of and remove, so the spirit can come in. So I know that was confusing. You can throw subtitles. You can make sense of it. Go.
No, I really appreciate that. And I mean, thanks for your honesty there. And I think you touch on something that's so important. And I've been constantly reminded of as well, just even as a man, like what we're taught, and almost that, like you said, just to fix it, like steer away from the emotion, steer away from vulnerability, just fix it. That'll get done. But I mean, I love hearing you talk about how the need to go deeper, the need to take it in and sit with our emotions and to feel and to then ask the creator, ask those around us to lift us up, because sometimes like we're afraid of that.
Yeah, that's such a good place to be, because if you're going to sit with your emotions, you're sitting there feeling really uncomfortable. And to learn how to sit in that discomfort, and even better yet, to learn how to chase that discomfort for the sheer wondering or the sheer of understanding what's available on the other side of discomfort by sitting in it for a period of time and focusing on that fruit instead of how uncomfortable you feel in the moment, there's some secret sauce there for sure.
Yeah,
guys don't like to do that.
Yeah, no, and I'm one of those. I'm still learning. I'm an optimist. I'm silver lining king. You want to find a silver lining in something, boom, I'll find it. And my wife does a great job of reminding me, no, like sometimes we need to sit in this, like, and you need to learn and not just run away from the discomfort you're feeling right now. And
that's a beautiful lady right there, man. Wow.
100% I agree. But so I think there's good learning in that, and I'm still on a journey of figuring that out, but I think it's a good one.
Yeah, because we're taught to like, or a knee jerk is, well, numb the pain, seek comfort, like it's gonna be okay. We're not really taught to just sit in very uncomfortable places. And we're certainly not taught to chase it, but I've learned that there's so much life. There's so much, like, it's so giving on the other side of that, and it does take time, but it's true, man. Like for me, like I can go out and do some, sporty stuff or get uncomfortable there. But like, if you put a spreadsheet in front of me and I got to actually work or write a paper, then that's really, really uncomfortable. But you could be like really good at those things, and that could be like really easy for you. So there's all these areas that you just need to learn to sit in instead of steering away from them. Right. Look, you do the finances, honey. I don't want to do that because I don't. No. Like, let's just sit in that uncomfortable area, or I don't put the kids to bed, or it can be anything, And if you start to treat that uncomfort like an adventure and a journey with the creator, and having no expectation of an outcome, only of what the questions you're going to ask along the way. That's life-giving, because you're gonna get answers over time.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh man, I appreciate the opportunity. I love your heart. I listened to a few of the things, and I think I think it's life-giving for the person on my end and for your end, and that's, look, if that's the baseline or the heartbeat, then awesome.
Well, thank you very much. I love it. I'll definitely hit you up when I'm in Florida and I need a place to go surfing.